Europe always been the elite of football. My idea, my dream was always to come to Europe. I got to play against some big players, the Beckhams, the Giggs, the Scholes, the Roy Keane, the Vieira, Henry, so many. And I remember the first game, when I'm coming out the tunnel, it was just full, and so loud coming out. Especially, when you play for Sunderland, you go out in Newcastle, people still find out you have a fight in Newcastle nightclub, the day after, everyone will know in the club. One of the players got sent off, so I asked to basically get on the pitch.
So here we are joined by Julio Arca, ex-professional footballer and now manager of South Shields FC. How are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
Brilliant, mate. It was exciting for me to obviously get you onto the podcast because I remember as a young lad, he's a funny story. I want to start with this one. I remember meeting you after a footy match. You'll not remember, but you signed me Nokia phone, your name on the back of my phone.
That must be
I'd love to. That's how long ago it was, mate. But anyway, I just want to, for people who don't know who you are, obviously in the Northeast, I'm sure this will get watched a lot. But for people kind of outside the Northeast, and not, they're not from that area of the football knowledge, what was your journey to football like? What were you like as a young lad, and what was your upbringing like?
Well, to people obviously that don't know me, I'm from South America, Argentina, born there. My football career, I started at probably 5 years old, like any other kids looking to play football. At that time, we could play football in the streets, in the parks, anywhere. You spend most of the time outside your house, where now things change slightly. And I just fell in love with football, from playing in the park, in the street, to like join a football team at the age of 7. That was Quilmes, that's the city where I'm from in Argentina. And then from that, couple years, I joined Argentinos Juniors. Argentinos Juniors was the club that basically teach me more or less everything, from the age of 10 till the age of 18. That's when I started playing, professionally. And then at the age of 18, I got a big move to UK.
What's up, people? If you're enjoying our content, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you press that notification bell so you don't miss another episode. That's amazing, that. So, when you were playing football, before you kind of got spotted, before you came over to the UK, what were your parents like? Do you have siblings as well?
Yeah.
What was that like? Was it hard growing up? Was it easy? Did you come from money? Did your family struggle? What kind of was the upbringing for you?
No, I'm coming from I will say mid-class working family. My dad used to work full time. My mom used to look after us. Got a sister younger than me, 4 years younger than me, and I got a brother as well, younger than me, 12 years younger than me. We enjoying our time as young kids. As I say, we could play a lot outside. It was no phones. It wasn't much video games. It was just like every time you go outside, you learn something else. Playing football in the streets. Running around.
Getting into trouble or not?
Yeah, a little bit, but like normal kids do.
Yeah,
I won't say like bad trouble. And you used to get a chance as well to socialize with different people. It was crazy where now, you're meeting someone and everything's on the phone, 10 o'clock, can you be there? And you keep WhatsApping, are you here? Here, you send the location. Well, before, it was like 5 o'clock, we need to meet in this corner.
Yeah.
And if by 10 past 5, here, we all leave. And it was just like, that's things that obviously you don't get now, that it used to teach you things, being on time.
Of course it did.
If you're not there, they're gone. So then you need to
you had to do it.
Yeah, you had to do it, Well, now, just wait for me 5 minutes, I'll get there. So they wait for you.
Yeah.
Things change. But no, my youth, it was good. I enjoyed, but I was most of the time playing football, playing everywhere in the school. As I say, everywhere I could, I would play football.
It's funny that you say that about if you weren't there, you weren't there, and you got left. It's a bit like now with Google in your pocket. Do you know what I mean? Like if you didn't know something, I remember when I was little, something I want to know, and I'd ask my mum. If she didn't know, then I didn't know.
Yeah, that's it.
It's crazy to think that actually now how much access you've got to information like that. So obviously you're playing football, you get noticed when you're 18-year-old. Where were you at sort of in your mind at the time? Is this all you wanted to do, play football, or was it actually, I've got a talent, if it goes somewhere, or was it like, I need this to happen?
Well, what happened is when I was 10, I moved from the team I was playing in my city, Quilmes, to this team called Argentina Juniors. So I went more or less for a trial in there. It was a friend from me from the same city that he was asked to go for a trial. So he asked me, "You want to go for a trial with me?" And I say yes. And that's when I realized that the level of this team I went to a trial was far higher than my level.
Yeah.
So I went for a trial and I said, wow, they're good. You know, I remember like doing a trial. It was raining that day. So instead of playing like on a 11-a-side, we went to do 5-a-side. And the kids could move. They're technically very, very good. So I done well. Obviously, the manager saw something on me and I said, look, we like to keep you on board. And that's what I started learning. Technically, I became a lot better. Controlling the ball, passing, everything you need to play football. I learned that, I will say, the first 5 years in that club, it'll teach me a lot. And probably at the age of 16, 17, I got called to go and play for the reserves.
Right.
So the reserves used to train basically next to the first team. Yeah. Okay. So the academy used to train somewhere else, reserves and first team in a different place. So that's the first time when I was called to train for reserve that I saw, looking at the first team on the other pitch, I saw I might have a chance here. Did
you fancy yourself?
I could see myself getting closer. Before that, I was playing football because I like to play football. I never had that, I would say, that ambition of saying, I want to get there because I want to earn that amount of money, or I want to do this, I want to do that, or because I want to have a nice car. It wasn't, I don't think it was in anyone's mind before, I know things change now. If you ask probably one of the young kids, why you want to play football for? And I did ask that question before. Because I want to earn 50,000 a week.
Yeah, of course. Was the money good then, Julio?
No, it wasn't. No, not in South America. Nothing compared to here.
So the only way to really make it was to come to the UK?
Well, I mean, UK, Europe in general.
Yeah, of course.
South America it got a lot better now. We're talking about over 25 years ago, But Europe always been the elite of football. At that time, probably Spain and Italy was the best countries where like they had the best leagues. And then England, from, I will say, 2005 or even after that, they got better and better because a lot of South American, a lot of foreign people, a lot of foreign players start coming. Yeah. So they changed the game a little bit, and then obviously became more popular. But again, going back to that, training with the reserves, and then after a while, I got called from the first team, just for one game. I remember playing this team away, and I was on the bench, and one of the players got sent off. So I asked to basically get on the pitch and mark their best player. Right, that was my first game.
And do you know who was that best player or not?
I can't remember the name. I remember the team. It was a team called Instituto. It was a team far away from Buenos Aires, about 6-7 hours away, in a place called Córdoba. And I got asked to go and mark him as a centre back as well. Never played centre back before. My position was left back.
Yeah.
And he was a technically player, and I think I done really well. We drew that game 1-1, so more or less it was good overall for everyone, for the team, for myself, and that's when my career kind of professionally started. After that, then I was involved in the first team a bit more. We played a few games, and then the season ended, and then the season after, I kind of went to play in the first 11 as a left back, and I played more or less 20-25 games. And then before the season ended, I got a call from my agent saying that a team in England was interested in me.
How did that feel? Because did you know who the team was at the time?
No.
Did they tell you?
No. I always say, like, I didn't know anything about Sunderland. Going back to what I said before, I follow more like Italian league, Spanish league, because that's what we could see back home. The English league wasn't as popular
as
the other ones. Yeah, I mean, it's still important, of course, but not as popular as the other ones. Because a lot of players from Argentina used to go more to Italy and Spain. So obviously the repercussion was,
that's
we watch then, you know. I don't think it was many English players in UK. You know, when I first came, you probably count with one hand how many Argentinian players were here.
Yeah.
So when the call came, my agent said to me, "Well, it's a team interested in you from UK." He told me about Sunderland, and he said, "Well, you need to like make your mind in the next week or so." So, you know, going back to that, it was hard. You know, I mean,
did it offer you great money at the time as well? Was that a part of the driving factor? Because obviously, when you're over there in Argentina, you're looking around, you're thinking, again, the natural progression is Italy, Spain, these type of places. Yeah. And then you're getting potentially called out to England. Was it daunting for you as a young lad to be like, fuck, I'm going to have to leave my family and go? Or were you excited? How did you actually feel?
I was excited, scared at the same time. But my idea, my dream was always to come to Europe, regardless if it was UK, Spain, Italy. Probably Spain would have been more suitable for me because the language, the culture, you know, were more similar than Argentina, where UK is different, you know, the way we live in there. But when he told me to go a week or two, I already made my mind up. I said, I'm going, you know, regardless. You know, the problem was telling obviously my mom and dad, you know, saying, look, this team is interested in buying me because it's not I'm going there. They were going to pay good money for me. And my dad understood, you know, pretty quick because he played football before. He never got to like playing first team, but he played for a team back home in Argentina where he got to the reserve. So he obviously loved football. He knew, you know, the ambitions I have. Obviously for my mom to lose, you know, one of your kids at 18, 19 to go and live somewhere else. It's not around the corner. It's just in the other side of the world. Yeah. It wasn't easy. But again, she understood that opportunities sometimes come once, you know. Like we say in Argentina, the train go past. If you don't shoot in, then they might not come back, you know.
That's true though, isn't it? Did you feel that as well? Did you feel the pressure? Like, if I don't, this could be my only opportunity?
Look, my football career could have been probably a lot different. I think I could have still, you know, make it, but maybe the path would have been a lot different, you know. Would have been probably more time in Argentina. Probably the opportunity for Europe could have been later. It was a team in Argentina interested in me, a bigger team, but they have to sell the left back for me to go there. So obviously that was the rumors. The left back that they were going to sell basically said I'm staying for another season. So that obviously changed the way I want you to approach the opportunity, you know. And then Sunderland came, so I said, well, probably best to take the opportunity now.
Before you came to Sunderland and played over here, what kind of players did you come up against in your career at that point? Did you play with the best around at the time? Like, where were you at in terms of? I know your ability came on, but obviously when you come to Sunderland and you start, you know, you're in this league. Well, all the world's famous players are now pretty much in this league, aren't they? The majority of them, a lot of them have been. Was that a case? Did you find yourself being sharing a pitch with those type of players then? Or was it a case of just when you moved to the UK, that's when you kind of eyes were open to the kind of how big football can be? Do you know what I mean? Or were your idols always, you know, Europe, like Italy, Spain?
No. I mean, I knew a lot of players from here. I mean, obviously England have fantastic players. And, you know, when I arrived in 2000, it was so many good players. I remember like playing or knowing then from playing on the PlayStation, you know, like being young, you know, like the Beckhams, the Giggs, the Scholes, the Roy Keane, the Vieira, Henry, like, well, so many. So yes, back in Argentina, yes, I played against big players at that time, especially when you play against teams like Boca Juniors, River Plate, you know, the bigger teams over there. Massive. So I got to play against some big players. But then when you're talking coming here, obviously you play against even bigger players. You know?
Were your eyes opened, Julio, when you came here, like to that? The bigger players, were you like, did you? I know it sounds mad because obviously you're professional. Did you ever think like, I know they were interested in you, but it was Peter Reid when you came across, wasn't it? To Sunderland?
Yes, Peter Reid. Yeah.
And when you were sort of under him and you kind of settled in here, were you like, shit, fucking hell, like these are all the players I used to play on FIFA with, like, and now I'm sharing the bit. Was it weird or was it?
It was, yeah, it was. It was just like everything was new. It was surprisingly, you know. I mean, I always say the first time playing Sunderland, they show me when I first arrived. They showed me the stadium, training ground, and all that, but it was empty. You know, the first time I played there, we played West Ham at home. It was 48,000 screaming. You know, Sunderland obviously the season before done really well, finished 7th. So
the pressure was on.
Well, the pressure was on in a good way because it was a lot of fans supporting. You know, every single game we play at home, it was 48,000 regardless. You know, and they could see supporting the team. They were like the 12th man there. You know, and I remember the first game when I coming out the tunnel, obviously with that music that always on. It was like wow. You know, it's like. Can't believe I never played in a stadium with so many people before. Because back home I play in some big stadiums, like but they never been like full when I play. Well, that day against West Ham, you know, it was just full, you know, and so loud coming out, and I was lucky to like score my debut. But that game I remember playing against Paulo Di Canio, Davos Zucker, Frank Lampard. I think it was at West Ham, if I'm not wrong. So already
you're in with the big
game,
boys,
and then the second game was Manchester United away. So it's like
wow, away as well.
You know, and you see basically everyone. I was playing left wing, so I was playing against Beckham, right next to me, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, what, you know, how far I go, you know. But the thing is, like, can I maintain myself in there?
That's it, isn't it? Because you can get lost, can't you, once you're there?
Because it's easy. Well, I mean, it's not easy. People say, oh, it's easy to get there. I can tell you for a fact, it's not easy to get there. It's hard. And anyone that do professional sport will tell you the same. You know, boxers, footballers, you know, people play basketball. To get to the peak is hard. And it's even harder to maintain yourself in there, you know, after that.
Yeah, that's it. You because like I say, you can become unstuck, can't you? You can really fall to the part where actually, you're amongst a big squad. Some people could try and blend in or stay under the radar, but obviously you become known because you've got, especially somewhere like Sunderland as well, mate. 48,000 people. You're getting looked at like you can't hide. You know what I mean, with all them people around you. How were you embraced, Julio, when you came to Sunderland? Was it a nice warm welcome? Was it a case of, did you feel like this is just a money thing? They just want me for me skill, or was it actually like a family? Because obviously the loyalty that the Sunderland fans have got, again, best football supporters in all the UK, mate. But obviously when that was kind of happening, did you feel that? Did you feel that welcome for yourself?
Yes, I never felt like anything apart from that. You know, people like welcome me really well. A lot of people, I'm sure, didn't know who I was when I first signed for the club. You know, they paid 3.5 million, if I'm not wrong. And obviously, who is this kid, 19-year-old, you know, coming from Argentina Juniors is a big club. On the way that they build up a lot of players, you know, players like Maradona, you know, Coloccini was in Newcastle. And,
Tevez?
Tevez wasn't there. But you got a lot of players.
No, but I mean, even when Tevez came to Man U.
Yeah.
Argentinian in he as well.
Yeah, he was in Boca Juniors.
Boca Juniors, yes. Okay.
So this team is always been like more or less the school of football. Like a lot of good players came out from that team.
Yeah.
But if you ask someone here, do you know Argentinos Juniors? They might say yes, might say no. If you ask someone, do you know River Plate and Boca Juniors? They say yes.
Yeah.
So coming from that team, they probably didn't know me, and and obviously I felt a little bit pressure. You know, they're paying 3.5 million from me. I have to come and perform. You know, and I noticed straight away that regardless my technically. On the football side, I felt like Sunderland fans like players to work hard. You know, give your best 100%, 110% every game. And I noticed that probably the first 5-10 games, every time you go to a tackle, the fans are like, wow, win the ball back, and they're celebrating. And so that showed me, if I can bring my technically ability and the hard work, that will put a good match for the Sunderland
Well, I think
fans.
that's the thing as well. Obviously, scoring on your debut, that you can't really get a better,
No,
you know what I mean, and like sort of introduction to the club and the fans and stuff like that. And that's only going to kind of cement you, because you are a legend from the club, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like everyone I know who knows you, love you. I've never met someone who has anything bad to say about you. So you obviously did your job. Do you know what I mean? I think that's amazing, that, because again, coming from the other side of the world, mate, like, fucking, I give you all the credit in the world for that. That I can't fathom how hard it would be to become one of the best, obviously from where you live, to get that opportunity and take the opportunity and actually take it well and deliver, perform under the pressure, under the fans. But kind of when you did get here and you were playing and stuff, like you say, you start to understand how much Sunderland fans wanted you to perform after, say, 10, 15 games. Did anything change? Because obviously this is probably the first time you've tasted money, really, like proper, because obviously you've came here, you're in with the big boys now, there's no messing around. Obviously you had the likes of Niall Quinn, Kevin Phillips, all these people kicking around at the time. Did that change you at all, or were you like, no, I'll just focus on the football, money's just a byproduct of this? Or were you like, wow, fuck, I can maybe start planning my future here? Or how were you how was your mindset?
No, it didn't change me, and that's the good thing on me. Obviously I came, as I said before, from a working class family, and football, yes, financially helped me, but never changed me. I never went from being here to be there. I always kind of maintain myself in the same light, regardless if you have £10 or 100,000 in the bank.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's the way I am. I don't see money make you a better person. Money helps, of course. Money brings trouble as well, for sure. Because when you get money, you get the wrong people attracted to you.
People just hang on and
exactly. So play football is good if you get to the obviously to the higher level. Financially can help, but then you have all the consequences that happen as well. So not everything is great. You have to deal with a lot of stuff. Who you trust. Who you're working as an agent with. So all these things that people think, oh, well, you get a lot of money to kick the ball. It's not like that. It's not that simple. I wish it was that simple.
Yeah. Did you, what kind of negatives did you experience with it all then? When you came, you said that obviously it comes with, potential jealousy. You've got people who are trying to do you the wrong way for business. They see you as this investment, like a bit of a cash cow as a player. A lot of people look at you like that. Like, have you faced any negative stuff? Like, is anything where you think, fuck, that was a bad time in my life, that, since you came to the UK?
Well, I mean, probably trusting people that basically fail, on what they say, or or people that you saw they were friends, and you realize they were the friend of a footballer, or what they say in boxing, the friend of the champ.
Yeah, that's right. Like
that you have, like they used to, when we used to go out and everyone was there, and great, when you're at the peak of your career, everyone is around you, and then when you basically leave football, it's like, why no one is texting me? What's happening now? Where is everyone now? And that's why a lot footballers get depression. Because you
drugs and stuff as well.
You leave football, what everyone want to interview you, everyone want a piece of you in a good way, or everyone, you get sponsor, you get your agent, you get people interviewing you, you got to go play and train every day, then you go your weekends, people want to go out with you, and then after 10-15 years everything just stop.
That's savage, that, isn't it? Like,
that's a massive change, but not just in football, in any sport,
Yeah, of course it is. But not even just sport. That happens if you get success in business.
In life,
In life, it doesn't even have to be success.
Yeah.
You're just doing something that someone isn't, and it's a little bit like...
The problem with... The difference is, when you're a footballer, you play for 15-20 years. So if you're a popular accountant, a popular lawyer, or a popular doctor, your career could last 35 years, 40 years.
It's like a lifetime, isn't it?
It's a lifetime. Where football is like, okay, 15-20 years you play, some of them made good money, some of them made decent money, but not probably enough to like, live forever. So what am I gonna do now? Because
well, that's it, isn't it? Because, and again, on the bottom end of the spectrum, you've got people who struggle to make a living, and the talent's there. And I was going to ask you that, Julio, when you were back in Argentina before you came to Sunderland, did you notice that there was people who could have even been better than you, but just never got the opportunity? Because you must feel like when you see people like, fuck, he's unbelievable, like, but he never made it in the end. He never made it to the big stage like what you did. Do you ever feel like, fuck, it's bad luck, or does it make you kind of understand how hard football is? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How did you feel? Did you see that a lot?
Yeah, well, I mean, I played the team I was playing back home. My age, I'm from 1981. So in Argentina, it's not like here on the 9, on the 11s. It's like it was 1981 play together, 80 play together, 79 play together, and that was the categories that you play for.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, I remember like we have a lot of good players in my team. I mean, a lot of good players. Like some of them, they were better than me. Some of them play in different levels. They go into professional. Some of them play in Spain, not probably in La Liga, but they play second, third division. Some of them I remember one went to Switzerland. Some of them play back home in the first division over there. But everyone, I remember the majority of them make a lot of sacrifices like to get there, and they didn't get there. So I remember like when I was training for this team, Argentinos Juniors, at the age of 12, 13, that's when I started to travel on my own.
Yeah.
Taking buses, train and all that. And the place where we used to train used to be, I would say, an hour and 40 minutes away from my house.
Wow.
So I remember...
dedication, that, like, innit?
So what happened is I didn't know how to travel at the age of 11, 12. So my dad used to take me first to training, get back home. So he used to do an hour and 40 back, go to work, just to teach me how to travel. So he done that for a couple of weeks, of course. And then I used to do that. So I remember like walking from my house for like, I don't know, say a mile, get a bus, then get a train. And then I used to get 2 undergrounds and then another bus. That was my journey just to get to the training ground. Yeah. And after that, same again in the afternoon. So I used to like leave my house, say about 1 o'clock, get there for half 2, 3 o'clock start, finish about 5, half 5, and I used to get back home about half 7, 8 o'clock night time.
Did your friends change around you when you grew up? You know, the friends that you had,
my closest friends, no. My closest friends, no. I got like 2 closest friends that, they
always been the same.
Yeah, they always been the same. Then I have other people like, they probably didn't speak well about me, jealousy or whatever, expecting probably because I play football to get some kind of rewards because they were my friends.
Yeah.
But look, I learned in life that I used to care a lot about how people felt. Thinking, why is doing this or why is saying that about me? Well, now, if you want to speak about me, then
it is what it is.
Just get on with. I'm just worried about my family, about myself, about the people I care, and that's it. If you worry about everything, it's just like
it's pointless.
You can't stop enjoying life. So I'm just gonna worry about things that really matter.
How were your mum and dad when you sort of made it over here? How were they?
Oh, they were exciting. Yeah, it's really, really exciting. Especially knowing that I scored in my debut.
I bet your mum must have made you feel like proud.
They were. Yeah, I remember like because at that time we have phones, but you could not take pictures on your phone and send it because going back to the Nokia.
The Nokia.
It's just all text.
Yes.
So I didn't even have an email when I got here. So I have to make myself an email just to get in touch with my mom and dad. And then the international calls at that time, it cost a fortune. I mean, it was ridiculous. Something like we used to pay like £5 a minute at that time, or £3 a minute. Well, now obviously it's all free. WhatsApp call, Facebook call. So it was hard to keep in touch with them as well, because we didn't have many ways.
Yeah,
but obviously I called them. I told them, everything went well. I scored my debut. So yeah, it was they were really exciting.
What about from a personal kind of profile as well? Because obviously that love grew. I mean, Instagram wasn't a thing then.
No.
So, but social media still was kicking around, wasn't it? Like there were certain things and people taking photos, and it wasn't as obviously where it was now. I'm trying to think. You came in Sunderland 2000.
I don't
to
think it was
2006.
nothing there. I can't remember I can't remember even YouTube being like.
So in a way, it'll probably been more amplified in person then.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like
It was the papers. Just read the papers. I remember like buying the papers like to learn English.
do you remember the first time you got spotted when you got noticed in the street, or do you remember them times, or is that just?
I can't remember that.
Did it feel any certain way though? Like when you were, do you know what I mean? Like, because I mean, it's weird. Like, I don't know. I know what I mean. Like, it's hard to explain, but when you started to get noticed for your ability,
Yeah.
was that like a thing? Like, fuck, I just want to play football.
Yeah.
Or was it actually like, no, I want to spend time with people me fans and things, or was it? Were you? Because what you'll find is in a lot of sports, for instance, you might have the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan in snooker.
Yeah.
He'll play snooker often. I mean, don't get me wrong, every now and again he will, but often in times after the match he'll just leave, go straight in the car and off. He doesn't even stop. Were you? Which type of player were you? Because I know obviously with me, you signed me for, and I know what you were like. But what were you like with everyone? Did it ever piss you off? Like in the streets, can we have a selfie or can I take photos? Or did that not bother you?
No, as long as people come and ask you about about what they want, a picture, an autograph, or they want to have a brief conversation with you with respect, then I always have time for them.
Did it ever go the other way though?
Well, yeah, I've been in bars where like just people trying to be clever, saying things or doing stuff, trying to show off, and you always get one of them, But especially, when you play for Sunderland, you go out in Newcastle. It could happen.
Did you do that much?
Well, I mean, I used to do that. I used to when I was young, I used to go a bit out in Sunderland, Newcastle, something Durham. Just like trying to get to know different places. But it did happen a few times. Nothing measure. But I have to look after myself, not try to get in trouble. Even before that, it wasn't like cameras and social media and all that. People still find out you have a fight in Newcastle nightclub, the day after everyone will know in the club, and that repercussion could have been bad. So, as much as probably bother you, when you're out, someone come and bother you or say something, it's just like, off you go, move on.
When you have obviously all the glory and everyone wants to be your friends and you're winning and you score and you're doing well, what's it like the opposite when in your career doesn't feel that great or things aren't going as well? Because surely every game you're not playing, how you played on your debut. So how does that feel as a player? How does that feel as a person? When you go home after the match that day and do you beat yourself up, or do you think, look, how's your mindset? Is it like, no, next game's a new game, focus on that? Or does it play on your mind, I could have performed better, why did this happen? Or
well, I mean, the good thing with football give you opportunity every weekend. Or every 4 days, if you're playing on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So you can reverse what happened on a Saturday, the next Saturday, obviously, if you get a chance to play. But yeah, I mean, football give you a lot of happiness, and football can make you sad as well. You can see that on the fans, when fans go and watch a final, they win, it's like, wow, it's just so happy, you see their faces, the kids, the family. They get beat, it's like, well, same for us, it's probably even harder for us.
Yeah,
because you are representing all of them standing there.
Yeah.
And probably a lot more watching the game at home. And not just a final, every game, And obviously, when you're young, you probably don't realize that. When you start to get a bit older, 24, 25, you realize people come in, pay for the tickets, buy the shirts, spend a lot of money. So the least you can do is just like, even if you play bad, give 100%. And that's what I noticed in Sunderland. Everyone gonna have bad games. You cannot play well every game. Only probably Messi can play well every game. But as long as you give 100%, up here, I think especially Sunderland fans, and probably Middlesbrough as well. I mean, Newcastle, obviously I can't speak about them because I never played for them, but they respect that. They will say, okay, well, he have a bad game, but he cared about the team because he run his socks off. He worked hard, and that's why that's why it matters for them.
I wanted to ask you, I've asked a few guests on the podcast this, but did you ever, obviously because you've got a lot of fans around you, 48,000 people, game in, game out, and they're always there chanting your name and watching you and cheering you on for every tackle and every goal. Was there ever a point in your career, Julio, if you could be honest, where you didn't believe in yourself, where you thought, am I actually good enough?
No, not really. I always knew that I have room to improve. I never felt that, oh, this is me, I've done enough.
Mm-hmm.
I know everything. No one can tell me how to play, because that's something that it never crossed my mind, and that's why I try to say young kids. Sometimes, you're teaching 14, 15-year-old and they think they know everything, and they're so wrong, and that's how they make mistakes. And some of them, because thinking that way, they get nowhere. In 3-4 years' time, you see them playing in the really, really low leagues, because sometimes they think, well, I'm not going to listen to the coach because I know how to do this or that. So that's a good thing of me. I always knew that, well, anything you do in life is always room to make yourself better.
Of course.
I don't think, but, probably some special people out there, but everyone can learn, more and more and more. And if it's not here, you can learn something else, So, like myself now, I'm a manager here now. It's just starting. This is a process.
Yeah.
So if you go and tell the lads, well, you should do this because this is the way. No, I need to prepare to learn,
Yeah, of course.
And the repercussions, if I learn, will be bad. Just not for me, for the team, for the club, for everyone.
Because I know that I've had a few people in the boxing world on the podcast, and they've always said, even from a boxing coaching perspective, if a boxer comes in that can be the most talented fighter they've ever seen, but if they're not willing to learn, they'd rather not work with them.
Exactly.
They've got to be coachable.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same in football as well, isn't it? I think you've got to always have that room to think, you know what, no matter what, I don't know everything, and maybe I can learn something from this guy. And even if the guy's worse than you in terms of ability, you can still learn from them people. Do you know what I mean? It's the same as me when I'm even in business or creating content with someone. I always know that I might think, this is the angle, this is the lighting.
Yeah.
Actually, have we tried this though? The next thing you know,
just picking ideas.
Different. Yeah, of course.
Picking ideas, and then you can change the idea around the way you want. You don't have to copy someone else.
Yeah,
you should pick something up and say, oh, I'm going to try this. And it might work, might not. But
so to learn things, speaking of learning things, when say half time, you go in the changing rooms, you've got Peter Reid, you Niall Quinn, Kevin Phillips, these type of people around you. What actually goes on when you're having a bad game? What goes on in the changing rooms? Because for me as a fan, I just come and watch the games.
Yeah.
You don't really understand what's going through. At half time, you think, right, at the bar, another pint, watching the game. The next thing you know, you're performing a lot better. What's being said in them rooms? I know it doesn't have to be specifics, but what type of things get said by the manager?
Well, obviously, he's not going to have much time as a manager to you go only, I will say, out of 15 minutes, you got 10, probably. More or less concentrate on what you done right, what you done wrong, trying to explain, obviously, what you done wrong. You need to improve because you got 45 minutes and that's all you got to change around. But you got managers that say that in a nice way, and you got managers that, probably come screaming and,
How are you as a manager?
I'm seeing myself and calm. Everyone got their limits, of course, but I got an assistant coach with me now that is more or less the same than me. He's calm, but we're expecting a lot.
And you can learn from each other as well, can't you?
Yeah. Being calm, it doesn't mean oh, well, she's got beat. No. I'm calm, I'm going to look after you, but you need to perform for me, But, going back to when I first signed with Reedy, Peter Reedy was probably, one of them that will come to changing room and, put his point forward, by screaming sometime. But, he showed he cares, he wants the team to do well, and he was screaming at us sometimes because he knew we could do better.
Yeah, that's the thing. So he's disappointed knowing that.
He's disappointed, yeah. If you don't believe in your team, you probably go there and but when you believe in your team, again, it's not about shouting and stuff like that, but when you believe in the team, you get disappointed because you know they can do better,
When you were at Sunderland, was there any other opportunities when you could have went and somewhere else and you just chose to stay here?
Yes. So when I first came to Sunderland, Newcastle was interesting as well. But I remember arriving here. My agent told me, well, I knew about Sunderland, of course. That's the reason why I came here. But then, being here, he got a call from Newcastle that they were interested, but they didn't probably show as much interest as Sunderland. So that's why we ended up going to Sunderland. Then I was in Sunderland from 2000 till 2006. When I left Sunderland, I had an opportunity to go to Spain, a team called Espanyol of Barcelona. Then Middlesbrough showed some interest as well. And then I decided to go to Middlesbrough.
And what was the reason for that choice? Was that to kind of stay in the northeast? Do you think you'd kind of made foundations here, so it was kind of a natural kind of move at that point, or did you just not want to go to Europe at that point in your career?
No, I find it like Middlesbrough was in a good position at that time. They were in the Premier League. The season before they got beat in the UEFA final against Seville. They have some great international players, so I thought that was the right opportunity for me to keep learning as a footballer, play with a lot of international footballers. The names of, some of the names are unbelievable. Again, Gaisca Mendieta, at some point in Spanish play, he was, if I'm not wrong, one of the best players playing in the world. Then you got Mark Viduka, Yakubu, Boateng, Max Schwarz, a lot of players there that international players, they're really good standard players. So I saw that's a great opportunity for me to keep learning,
Who was the best player you've ever kind of been on the pitch with?
Well,
you've actually, it doesn't even have to be the biggest player, just necessarily like, actually, this guy's a tough player to play against. Like
I play against, I play some against, obviously Roy Keane was one of them, Dennis Wise, I won't say he was been known to him, playing for, especially when he was at Millwall. Millwall have some naughty players. When we used to play against them, but I mean, one of the probably players that I always mention is Gaisca Mendieta. Gaisca Mendieta was, when I arrived at Middlesbrough, he's from Spain. He played for Valencia many years. Then he went to Barcelona. Then from Barcelona, I think he went to Lazio, and then from Lazio in Italy to Middlesbrough. And more or less he done everything, by the time he got in Middlesbrough. But such a professional player. He was the first in the training ground, probably the last one to leave. And when you're talking about a person, someone that, have a lot of money probably, done everything in football, and such a down-to-earth person. And that's why I think, he called my attention, He wasn't arrogant, he didn't have a big ego. And, he was a Spanish national team captain. He captained Valencia. So that's what you learn from footballers like that, people like that. They don't ever see and they're still the same, nothing changed.
It's that humbleness, isn't that, they've got?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you realise.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think you gain a lot of respect from other people. I remember I've been in a Sunderland training ground 2-3 months ago, after not being there for a while, and I still got people working there for over 20 years. People that cleaning the place, people doing all the washing.
Yeah, it's an ethos, isn't it?
I went there and I spoke with them because I used to be there, in the training ground, and probably I was the last one. I used to go and have a coffee or chat with them. And for us, for footballers, when you play, you think, oh, well, I should have a chat with them. But for them, to spend some time with you, something mean a lot.
Yeah,
it's that 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Today, they go back home. I was talking with Julio Arca or Kevin Phillips or Nigel Quinn. So that little things make a lot for them. I'm the same with the fans. When you get a couple of minutes to spend with a fan, again, for you, it's, well, I spoke with another fan, but for them, it's not.
Yeah, it's like they spoke to their idol as well. I mean,
exactly.
Who did you, other than that guy, did anyone of you was your role model?
Yeah, well, I had players that used to play my position that they were good. I used to look up with a player back home called Juan Pablo Sorin. He play Argentina national team. Roberto Carlos from Brazil. He was playing in my position, left back.
Yeah.
And he was a couple other players that they were really good technically playing as a left back home. That I mean, obviously at that time everyone's idol was Maradona. You know, when we growing up, but he was playing in a different position than me. When I look at someone in my position, probably it was 2 or 3 players.
Yeah, that's it. Like, have you met people like Messi and that?
No. I met Maradona once in an airport. I managed to take a quick picture. But again, you know, that's what we're talking about. Someone like me. And
I wonder if he did he recognize you? I wonder.
No. I didn't say who I was. I didn't just kind of have a picture, and then that was it. But he was coming out of the plane with me, and then the amount of people waiting for him outside. That's what I mean. That's when you realize, like,
the levels.
We play the same sport, but wow.
Yeah, because Maradona is a brand. Do you know what I mean? Like Ronaldo and Messi, the brands. They're not just players. Do you know what I mean?
They can't just like. I have an easy life compared like then, because I play football. I could go to the city center, have a coffee, go to a bar, have a drink, go to a restaurant, have food. Yes, you have someone coming out, can have a picture. They can know out.
Because I think, you know? I'm pretty sure with someone like Ronaldo, in fact, I think Ronaldo and Messi, I'm sure they've both signed lifetime deals with Nike or Adidas or whoever.
Probably, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it just because it's not about football now. It's this person's an actual brand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask you, Julio, a lot of players, they'll turn to drink, drugs or whatever that they get involved in, gambling, whatever it may be. What was it that kept you away from the dark side of that? Because obviously you've always kind of, I mean, you played for the Willow Pond, didn't you? So it just goes to show, like, someone who's played at that kind of level of football in Sunderland League, Willow Pond type of football, like, that just comes to show. I mean, I was just speaking to one of the lads there in the car on the way through, and I was like, it just goes to show the character of this person who we're about to do the podcast with. Do you know what I mean? So what was kind of your reason for that? Was that just to keep you sort of, you know, yourself in the game, keep playing, keeping active? Was it trying to stay away from other things? Why did you do that?
Well, what happened is I stopped playing professionally in 2012, 2013 through an injury on my foot. I was carrying out for 5-6 years. Yeah. So I have an operation on my foot. The recovery took quite a while. Took nearly 2 years. So 2 years being away from football, so it might be too long. So I kind of give up football. Start doing my coaching batches and all that. And I'm still around Sunderland. And I have a friend that is from Sunderland. They used to play for the Willow Pond.
Right. Okay.
And just one day having a drink or two, and he said, like, you know, how's your food, this and that. I said, why not let's just come and play for us? Like, see how you feel. And like, get yourself going again. And then I was only 35. So I said, get yourself again and you might just go and play. And, you know, I said, I said, just try once. So that was, I can't remember, on a Tuesday, whatever. So I signed the papers on a Wednesday, the forms and all that. And then on a Sunday, you turn up in there. And obviously the lads, they were playing for the Willow Pond, saw me there. And I was like, what he's doing here, you know?
That was fucking mad.
And this is the funny
You're having
thing.
a couple of drinks with your mate and he's like, do you want to come play for the... I bet your ace scored, getting you to play.
Oh, well.
You know what I mean? Like,
he knew all the lads. But the funny thing, like, the majority of them were expecting to see an arrogant, cocky ex-footballer turning up there, just showing off, you know, I play in the Premier League. And when they saw me, after a couple of weeks, they realized I was one of them.
Aye.
And I got told by them that, I said, we were thinking like, I said, no. And to be honest, I got to know a lot of good people in there. Some of them I'm still in touch with.
Of course.
And I could see, you know, how much they care about football, even playing in that standard. You know, some of the lads.
It must be lovely for them because they'll have been fans of you. And
for
them, you to join the team, you know what I mean?
Fans,
it's
some of them Newcastle fan, but it's just not about who you're supporting. It's about, you know, the kind of person you are, and can you have conversation with them? Can you speak about something else apart from football? And they're all human beings, you know. We know robots.
Exactly.
We like them. We got the chance to play high in football and, you know, become popular, but we're still like human beings.
I wanted to ask you, I've asked a few people this question, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. have you ever just spent a stupid load of money for no reason? Like, have you ever, you know what I mean? When you started making money, did you ever get to a point where you're like, is anything you wish you didn't buy, or any stupid decisions you made financially? Because again, a lot of people say footballers earn a lot of money. I understand. I appreciate there's a lot of things that are going on, more money, more problems, as you said earlier. But is anything where you think that was a stupid purchase, or I went and celebrated and spent it too? Is any kind of occasion where you remember like?
No, to be honest, I mean, we used to go out when I was young with Sunderland players or Middlesbrough players, but I kind of always have like a limit, and then like not a limit on myself, but I wasn't one of them where like, oh, she's bringing me 5 bottles of champagne, and I probably drink half of that. I wasn't like that. I was like, well, I'm not gonna waste, money, just like keep everyone happy.
Yeah, of course.
So,
do you see that a lot in football?
Oh yeah,
you see it all the time.
Yeah, you see
a lot of people pleasing.
Again, different personalities, and some players. I'm not gonna say everyone is the same, but some players been in that position, and as I said before, they went really up in the mountain, and then they went like that.
Yeah.
Down. Where if you manage to maintain a style of life, it might be easier.
And then even at the end of your career, you can
still
at
the end of the career, the repercussion will be more or less the same, because you maintain the same life than when you were playing, But obviously, when you start playing, you get a lot of money, and you want to live a high lifestyle. And then when you stop playing, you probably don't have the same amount of money. So, that's a big change.
I was going to say, how did it feel when you were injured with your foot? When you realised that? Do you remember, was there a conversation that happened, like you may have to retire from football? Was that a decision on you?
Yeah, I was getting a bit fed up because I wasn't playing much in Middlesbrough, and my foot was like bothering me a lot. I was in pain the majority of the day. I remember like having like cortisone injections. Like I started like having them I think when I was 26, and they used to last for like 18 months, and then with the pass of the time and the years, they last less and less and less. Well, like I remember the last one I have in my foot last 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
That's the
so I was not showing. Well, it was no cartilage in there. It was bone to bone, so it became arthritis, and that's why I need operation. And like when you start like playing pain all the time, and like it's just like get a bit frustrating, and I wasn't playing much. So I remember talking with my wife and saying to her, I think I'm gonna stop because I'm not enjoying like training, with pain all the time and all that. And then I had the operation, took a while. And if it's something I regret, I should have gone play again professionally after that, because I was fit. It doesn't take me long to get fit.
Where would you have went if you did return to pro?
I could probably go on abroad again. It was options in there that I didn't explore. I didn't probably dig on them, but I could have. At 35, I could have played another probably 4 or 5 years.
Obviously, you've got to think as well. You've got your family, you've got your wife, you've got 3 kids, 11, 9, and 2. So now imagine how hectic your life is anywhere outside of obviously football. So regardless, I don't necessarily think it's always a regret. It's probably the right decision to kind of facilitate the life you've got now here, and which brings us on to obviously becoming manager of South Shields, which is unbelievable, mate. What was kind of the reason for that decision?
Well, as I say, I started my coaching batches a while ago, and done bit by bit. I done my B license a while ago, about 3-4 years ago, and then beginning of last year, or the year before, that's when I saw when I'm gonna push on to do my A license. See where I can go, as a manager. I've done some coaching through the last 5 years, 6 years in different levels, but an opportunity like that never presented. So obviously Kevin Phillips was here last year, done really well, got the team promoted. The club, as I say before, is a club that is growing a lot. And I also have a good relationship with the club because my time here, luckily when I was here, we have some good times, as a footballer.
Yeah.
And having a chat with the chairman and other people in here, I show some interest about some point, if the opportunity presented, being a manager. And obviously when the team got promoted, Kevin Phillips and the club obviously decide to be part ways, and that's how the opportunity presented.
And how are you finding it? How are you finding having that responsibility?
It's good. It's good.
I know you said before the podcast how hectic it is,
Yeah,
and all
it
the stuff.
is.
As a player, you have the opportunity to just be a bit more free and play
Yeah.
and turn up when you know what I mean. There's a level of dedication required, but with this, it's like you are the boss now.
Yes.
So how does that feel? That role? Is it something that you carry with pride? Do you know what I mean, or is it a headache? How is it like?
No, I'm enjoying. It's a new challenge in my life. It's a new career. It's related with football, of course, yes, but it's a totally different role than being a footballer. As you say, dedication, time, doing the right things, not just for yourself, for the lads, for the club, for everyone working alongside you. And the better you do things, the better repercussions you have. That's the way I'm thinking. So it's just a starting point. Today we go our first friendly game. So we've been training for the last 10 days, pre-season, trying to get the lads fit. And then we go a long season ahead. The season, we got 46 league games, plus cup competitions. So it's an intense season, put it that way. But
it's good to sink your teeth into that, isn't it, as well? Like, get all the experience and everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I got an assistant coach that been working on this division where we are for many years, so he knows the leagues inside out. He knows the teams we're gonna play against. He knows a lot of the players. So, and obviously we got the knowledge about football. It's about implementing that in our team. Playing the right way, playing the way we want to play, and obviously on top of that is the results. You need the results, don't you? That's football.
I was going to say that's football, isn't it? To be fair, but you've got family, your kids and stuff that you've got. Do they play football?
They are the two older ones are playing for a team in Washington. Yeah.
And this is kind of the question I want to ask to you, but again, the answer I want it to be for all the fathers out there and stuff as well, or any young lad, to be honest, who listens to this. Would you recommend pursuing football?
As long as they like it, they need to enjoy. So I won't force my kids to play football. When I got the one is 11. I like to play, like to train the majority of the time. The one is 9. Sunday he wants to go to training. Sometimes he doesn't want to go to training. So I won't force him to do something.
How are you as a dad though? In that is it, son, if you want to be good, you have to be there, or is it a case of look, if you don't want to?
Look, if you want to improve, you need to practice, regardless what you do. If you want to be a good boxer and you never go to the gym, well, you're not gonna be fit. He won't know how to punch. He won't know how to move. Football is the same. If you don't practice, you won't know how to pass. You won't know how to head the ball, how to control the ball. So it's practice, and then will that pay off? Will that guarantee you making as a professional? No.
And that's the thing, though. That's what I mean. That's the hardest bit, isn't it?
That's the hardest part. Nothing is guaranteed. You have to put a lot of work, a lot of time.
But you must have believed in yourself.
Yeah, but nothing was guaranteed that I was going to make it. Look, in football, you need to be a bit lucky as well.
What do you think you would have done if you didn't make it?
I don't know. My dad used to work in a bank, and at some point, I was thinking, well, if this didn't work out, I might have to
I could probably see you as a bank manager in that, to be fair, mate.
So I might gone the route where done something about that, but yeah, that's the sadness in football. Like you mentioned before, you see a lot of good talents out there, and it's out of 20 players that they were playing with me when I was young, I think only 4 make it.
Yeah,
out of when I was in Sunderland Academy coaching on the 14s and 15, it was probably one of the best groups in Sunderland Football Club Academy, and I think only 4 or 5 make it as well in different leagues, different levels. So
the odds are against you, aren't there? In this
game? It's hard. It's hard. Football is hard. As I say, it brings a lot of happiness, but football can bring a lot of unhappy times as well.
Julio, I want to say thank you so much for today. But before we leave, I just want to ask, what's the future for you? Is it just to see how far you can go with South Shields? Do you have plans otherwise? Is there anything else you've got going on outside of football?
No, at the moment, I'm fully concentrated on obviously being manager, learning, trying to get better as a manager. What could happen in 1 month, 2, 3, 4, a year? I don't know. I'm just trying to go day by day and trying to like do the best I can for this football team now, because I'm part of this, and hopefully, yeah, my ambition is try to have a long football managing career, as I did as a footballer. Can I do the same? Can I get better as a manager than I was a footballer? It's just little objectives that you put in there. Can I go here? Can I get there? So time will tell, but that's what I'm looking to do now. Concentrate on the managerial side.
Legend, mate. I wish you all the best of success in the future, mate. I hope you get where you want to be. I'm sure you will, because you obviously clearly you've got the right mindset. You've came from the background. You know what you're doing. You're clearly very passionate about this sport, mate. So thanks a lot for your time, Julio, mate.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Cheers.